All right, guys. Well, here we are. It is, I'm not sure what time it is. Who gives a fuck anyway? You know, it's not like there's people that watch my content because they want to know what time I recorded the video at. What are you doing? No, I'm just watching this dude's video. I'm just trying to see what time he recorded at. Oh, 4 a.m.? No, I'm going to write it down. No, it's just new. It's a new thing I'm doing. Keeping track of when he records. I don't know. Someday I'm just gonna, I don't know, maybe I'll turn it into somebody. It's pretty impressive. I've kept track for like over 300 videos now. Yeah, nobody does that. I was having a great night. Not a great night, but I was feeling good because I raised money for my film. I mean, it's coming, I got a text message from someone that I've known for a long time, got a shitload of money. You remember the dude that, the crackhead guy that had inherited all that money, the guy that got me the strip club for my birthday when I found out Nico was on his way. Can't wait for him to be old enough to tell him that. So then I was blowing out crack, and then I got a text message, and I was like, oh, I'm having a baby. It's like some girl with a G-string in my face. All right, sorry. So I was but yeah, he's talking about doing the rest. He's talking about giving me 40. I need 45. I needed 60. I'm down to needing 45. I've gotten like 15. Well, at least commitments. He's talking about doing it all, so I might have it. I might know within the next day. He's like, let me smoke some rock. Let me put some thought into it. I come up with pretty good decisions when I smoke crack. I was like, yeah, me too. Me too, man. Yeah, I'm gonna be out here. Wow, I get laid all the time. Fuck my hot chick. It's gross. I'm trying to go to jail. Yeah, me too, bro. But yeah, I kind of, the night kind of took an ugly turn because I got in a fight with a close friend of mine over drugs. One of my closest friends wanted me to get him drugs. And I'm sober. Like, why the fuck would I get him drugs when I'm sober? Yeah, no, let me risk a felony. No, that's cool. Yeah. Down to take risks. I don't care about my kid. Yeah, I'll do it. I'm down. And he asked me, and I said no. And, he started calling me names, and I was like, what, dude? What's up, bitch? And we can meet up, and we can fight, if you want to do that. I'm not even joking. You take my kindness for weakness, I'm over it, I hate being clean and then getting in fights with your, homeboys about drugs when you're not doing them. If I was doing drugs and somebody wanted them, then it's one thing. And I don't even do that particular drug either. It's meth. I don't do that shit. This is why he thinks that I'll do it for him. So I don't know if you guys remember, but when I had relapsed, a couple years ago, when I had my really, really bad one, right before Paul died. If you remember how that happened in the first place, I hate Dasani. Just time out. When I get Nico Happy Meals at McDonald's, he can only drink out of a cup. And so I go, hey, can you just give me a cup of water with a straw? And they do, and they still charge me for a drink. That's bullshit. Why am I paying for tap water? So now, pretty slick, I go, hey, can I get a cup of water with a straw? Can I also get a bottled water with the Happy Meal? All right, thanks. And then I just have all these Dasanis that pile up. I'm a hustler. Yeah, don't tell anyone where you got that hustle from. That's a sick one. But when I relapsed a couple years ago, it was the universe wanted me to relapse. I swear to God. I run into that dude, some Mexican dude that I hadn't seen in years. He owed me $100. I met that guy in a different city at rehab, and I just happened to see him. This OG Southsider guy, but he's old. He's in his 60s. That's the guy that I had dress up like a Mexican mafia or cartel member when I tried to go collect that 70 grand that dude co-signed for me. Remember in What Really Happened series? That guy. He ends up, he's like, yeah, dude, he's like, oh, he's, he's old. Hey, yeah, hey, it's been rough, fool. I said, that's why it's been rough. That's why you haven't paid me $100. You've owed me for, 7 years, man. Yeah, dog, we're in the recession, fool. Like, that doesn't affect you. You're homeless. You're on welfare. Yeah. I know. I know. Yeah, I fucked up, fool. Hey, if you come by on Friday, though, I'll give you, how do you say, check? I'll give you my check, fool. I'll give it all to you. I don't even care. I'm not even trying to eat no more because I got integrity, fool. All right, whatever. So Friday comes along. I go to get the money. And he gives me like $80 cash. And he gives me a gram of heroin. Or it might have been a half gram. I don't even remember. He gave me a sack of heroin. I was on Suboxone at the time. So it's like, what is this? He said, that's Black Torchiva, dog. You can sell that, or you can get money that I owe you. If not, you can just have this $80, fool. That's all I got. I decided I want to eat. My health's more important than you. I'm all right. I'm not going to do it. So I end up taking the dope home, and I put it in my sock drawer. I was like, I'm not going to do this. The next day, I'm like driving. You know how relapses happen. This happens to everybody. The next day, I'm like driving. Just listening to music. And a thought hits me. I'm like, damn, what if I want to kill myself? I should probably buy some syringes just so I have them. In case our house gets raided and there's some lynch mob after me trying to kill my family. If I have syringes, they can shoot us up with raid or something and then we'll die. I go to the pharmacy and I get a 10-pack of rigs. So now I have a 10-pack of rigs and the dope, however much it was. It was like a half gram or a gram. And then the next morning I was like, man, every time I take a Suboxone and brush my teeth with it, it's gross. It's gross taste. You know what? I'm just going to brush my teeth and not take one. Fuck it. Take it later. That way I don't have to, mix the buprenorphine taste with Colgate. It's disgusting. I'm not an animal. I don't have to live that way no more. So, of course, my subconscious mind tricks me. And then later that day, I'm like, oh, do you hear a lynch mob? I swear to God, I hear hooves or something. There's reindeer. There's rabid reindeer. I'm out of here. Fuck you. I run in the bathroom. I gotta go. Relapsed. Boom. I forget now exactly how it happened, but shortly after that point, I always saw this white dude smoking cigarettes outside my house. It's kind of like an overweight white guy. He had bitch tits, which, whatever. Just because you have bitch tits doesn't mean you can't fight. I don't know why I just said that. It has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But I saw him and he was blasted in cheap prison tattoos. I knew he was a convict. I can just tell. And he'd always look at me. And I'd look at him. Sometimes I'd flick a cigarette in his direction. Just, so he knew I wasn't a bitch. And one day he's like, hey, come here, man. You live around here? I'm like, you see me go into my house every day, bro. What are you talking about? It's like, what? Hey, it's not my place to be in someone's business like that, bro. I was like, all right. He's like, you smoke trees? I was like, of course I smoke trees. I'm a fucking loser. He's like, hey, I smoke trees too, bro. Let's fucking blaze one. I'm like, all right. Cool. Comes over, we're smoking a blunt. Karina comes out, she's like, oh my God, are you smoking a blunt? What are you in high school? You want me to get you a Dr. Dre hoodie or something, you fucking loser? I was like, why are you doing this in front of this dude with bitch tits that I don't know that well? Not cool. He's like, that's your girl? I was like, no, it's just a Mexican bitch, I don't know. I think she's a fan or some shit. No, I didn't say that. She watches these videos. She gets so mad when I say stuff like that. All right, so anyway, him and I strike up a conversation, and he's like, "Hey man, do you do other stuff?" I was like what? He's like, "You smoke shit?" And I'm like, no. Meth? I don't. He's like, yeah, I do. I was like, well, fuck, it's obvious not working. You got a weight problem. He's like, yeah, dude, I used to be way worse before I started smoking shit. You should smoke shit too. It's cool. Yeah. Yeah, no, I live with my in-laws, but I smoke it. I smoke it and I build shit. Sometimes I paint shit that I build. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's not my thing. And then he goes, what about black tar heroin? And I'm like, fuck. Yes, I do. Yeah, I do. He's like, cool. I was like, all right, cool. Felt like I was doing some census survey or something. So, I don't know. I get different situations mixed up. But anyway, what ends up happening is one of the times that I relapsed, I slipped up once. And he comes over, and he's just like, hey, man, I got a gram for you for free right now. That's on the cuff, dog. I was like, and it's my neighbor. We could have like those tin can fucking string phone things out the window. Like, yay, Alpha, come in. It's Beta 4. Hey man, can you fuck my life up? Nah, bro, I'm sleeping. Alright, tomorrow come over and fuck my life up. I hate my chick. I hate my kid. I don't want any of it anymore. Just want to be homeless again. Fuck. And that started this vicious cycle, right? Now, one of the last times, so I don't think I ever went into this before, so whatever, I mean, fucking content's content, whatever. This wasn't meant to be a monologue. There is a story coming, the Henry story. I think I called it Ben earlier. Really, the guy's name in real life is Henry. He looked like Jared from Subway, the Chomo. But, so I end up going out on this horrible run, right? And eventually he hooks me up with this dude named Tony, who's the Southsider. He's the guy that gives me the fentanyl that I OD on, the one where I have the video where I'm like having a seizure while it looks like I'm getting butt fucked by a ghost. I'm like, just standing there vibrating. That guy. Right? And Tony he was like, this guy would drive around with guns in his lap and shit. This was my neighbor's friend, Tony. He's a Southsider. Actually, he said he was a Latin. He's like, yeah, I'm a Latin king. I'm like, in LA? He's like, yeah, it's rare, but I am one. Like, all right, dude, whatever. I don't know what he was. He was just some typical essay looking guy. He ends up getting busted, right? And what was I probably hooked up from this guy for like, I don't know, a good month or something, I was like on a sick one with this guy. And that sucks. You're like going and going, you're on some run. He had some good ass heroin too. And then boom, busted. Dying. I'm like I'm like, oh, I'm like crawling around puking. Corinne think, what's wrong? I'm like, I'm kicking. And I had to go down to Skid Row and score down there. Anyway, that starts I'm like having to go downtown and score all the time. And that's always shitty. It's just so grimy down there. But I end up running into my neighbor again because he was one of those guys that like said that he sold drugs, but like he didn't, he'd like middleman it. He'd be like, yeah, dude, yeah, I got it in my pocket. I just gotta call my pocket. Hold up. Yo, pocket, yo, it's me. I'm gonna fish in there in a second and get something. Okay. Oh yeah, 30 at the Circle K? Yeah, I'll be there. Alright. Yeah, dude, I just gotta go find it somewhere. It's like in my other pants. Like, I just heard you call somebody, though. oh yeah, I gotta go, bro. I'll be back in like 30 though, you know? And I was just like, okay. It's like one of those guys that kind of like lied. And he wasn't a drug dealer. He was just some guy that could get it. Whoop-de-doo. But I couldn't get it. I couldn't get the same dope. Because I go downtown and you get this like commercial grade, like, you don't even know if it's heroin. And there probably is some, but it's like laced with like bum shit or something. You're like, ugh. But you shoot, you're like, whatever. Fuck it. I'm so desperate. And you do it anyway. So I end up hooking up from him a couple times. There's the one time I go over to his house and overdose. I did a live right after on YouTube. And I was like, I am not high. And everybody was like, dude. And then I went to rehab not that long after that. But point is there was this one time when I was hooking up from him and I had to go, he like made me go like 30 minutes away to get it, you know, to his friend's house. So I ended up getting to his friend's house and there's like 4 girls and a skinhead. Let's see, this is a skinhead story. And the girls, for some reason, they're hot, right? It's in some flop house, but all these girls are hot. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? They're all strung out on meth and shit. The skinhead, just right away, I don't like him. He's trying to act all hard, you know, because I think a lot of times when people see me, you know, one thing that gives it away is that I have like the prison tattoos on my leg. My legs are like, you know, covered in like, you can tell that that's prison tattoos, right? But if I'm wearing like jeans and a hoodie, people tend not to think that I'm a convict, you know? They try to treat me a certain way. And this was that guy. He's like, hey man, you know where I was last week? No, but how would I just met you? I was in jail. Uh-huh. Oh yeah? That sucks. What'd you do? He's like, probation violation. Because I got in trouble. You know what happens in jail? I'm like, I don't. No, I've never been. Rape. Yeah. No, not me though. Nah. I'm way too tough to get raped. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, me too, man. You ever been in a gang before? I was like, yeah, a few, you know. What about you? He's like, yeah, same. Cool. So I heard, you know, he's like spitting out like corn kernels and corn kernels. I heard you wanted some dope, some of that heroin. I got it. I was like, cool. Give me the money, and I'm gonna come back. You know, he know me. I'm gonna come back. So I gave him $80. Okay. Back in that time, a gram of heroin was $80 in LA. Nowadays, like right around now, and how it's been for probably since the pandemic started, I want to say. Grams are going for $50 right now. I don't know why. Government's like subsidizing heroin dealers. You get like stimulus quarter pounds of heroin. I don't know why, but heroin's cheaper now than it ever has been in LA. You know, I think when I first started doing heroin back in like the early 2000s, it was like $60 for a gram. And then it went up to 80 and it'd be like 40 for a half. I've never seen it at 50. You can get a half gram right now for $30, you know? And a full gram's 50. But anyway, back then, this was a couple years ago, it's $80 a gram. So I gave him $80. He comes back and hands it to me. Now, like I said, I think this guy thinks that I'm a lame, right? Which I am, but, you know, I think he thinks that, like, I'm soft or something. I don't know what he thought. He gets back, he's like, man, to be honest, bro, Straight gasoline. I'm like, all right, cool. Can I get it? There you go, big dog. I look at it, and now, you know, I'm horrible at, like, knowing how big, like, if you told me, like, yeah, it's like 10 feet, walk 10 feet, I wouldn't even, like, know how to do that, you know? Like, I'm horrible with depth perception. I'm horrible with, like, guessing things or, like, how big something is. But I'm pretty good at eyeballing drugs just because I'm such a junkie, you know? Like, I can tell you, oh, yeah, it's a 0.4, it's a 0.8. If it's heroin, like, I know that one well. It was like a 0.3. I was like, hey, man, was this like a third of it? No, man. That's a gram, man. You gave me $80, right? Yeah. That's what I got for $80. What, are you questioning me? Like, I hadn't even accused him of anything. I just said, I mean, like, what the fuck? I was like, well, dude, I'm not paying $80 for a 0.3 of a gram. He's like, oh, come on, man. You don't know that. I was like, anyone here have a scale? And of course, one of the girls is like sucking on a blow pop. She's like, I have a scale. He looks at her. He's like, God damn, Alicia. God damn it. It's like a 0.27 or so. It's not even a 0.3. It was like less than what I thought it was. I was like, dude, I'm not paying for this. He's like, well, hey, you know, I don't know what to tell you, pal. I already gave the guy the money. Like I told you, this is the motherfucking gasoline, man. This is the gasoline stuff. You could die if you do it. If I'm going to be honest. And I'm like, look, dude, get your fucking cowboy act out of here. We're in LA. This dude was old. He was like 50. Fully prepared to just fuck this fool up. You know, it's like, and I'm not a violent guy, but like, I hate when people do that kind of shit. And I kind of got crazy with him. And I was like, hey, man, you know, don't take my kindness for weakness. I'm not going to get fucking burned. I'm not leaving here. He's like, well, and he started getting all scared because that's what old skinheads do. Fucking skinheads. They're like rubbing on their swastika, hoping some fucking Nazi dragon will manifest out of a meth cloud and like slay me. And it's not going to work this time, you meth head fucking skinhead. He's like, oh, I got to go smoke a cigarette, man. Hey, man, and then when I get back, we might fight. What do you mean we might fight? What the fuck, dude? My fucking money back, bro. Come on, pal. And he just walks out the door. The guy ran away. I never saw him again. I got burned. I got a less than a 0.3 of a gram of heroin. So I called my neighbor after that point. And I was like, hey, man. Dude, I just drove 30 minutes to get burned by some 50-year-old crackhead fucking, you know, southern skinhead. What the fuck, dude? He's like, oh, I'm so sorry, bro. Look, this is what I'll do for you. I'll give you your money back and you keep what you got. I said, all right, bet. Cool. Go back to my house. You know, I probably shot up in the car. I don't really remember. What I do remember, though, is that particular heroin, I will give the skinhead credit. It was fire. It was some good-ass dope. And next day, you know, I'm strung out. I'm, like, going gram to gram at this point. Like, I need my $80, you know? Call my neighbor. I was like, hey, man, you got that? He's like, yeah. I'll be over at your place in, like, 45 minutes. You want me just to bring you another gram? I got you. I was like, all right, cool. Never shows up. He does this to me for like a week, 2 weeks, just giving me the runaround. By this point, you know, I'd gone down to Skid Row. I ended up meeting this black guy that I know to this day. I like go play basketball with this guy now. He was like my drug dealer for a while. Now we just play basketball once in a while. I haven't played basketball for a few months, but last time I saw him, it wasn't a drug thing. It was like, we were like legitimately playing basketball. met at Venice Beach. Because, like, I'd meet up with this dude so much back then. I was, like, all strung out, like, trying to, like, play I'm not good at basketball to begin with, but especially when I'm strung out. But anyway, I end up meeting this guy. His name's Rob. He becomes my connection for a long time. And he's a reliable one, delivers to me, come to my house. I met him down at Skid Row. And I guess, you know, he's kind of like a young dude, probably like, I don't know, 21, 22 years old. And he kind of just would get sent to Skid Row by his older cousin just to sell drugs to people like me, you know. Hey, you see any white people walking down the block, you know what to do. You go hit them. You go tell them you got that shit, bro. And so that's how I met him. And I ended up becoming friends. Like I said, I played basketball. I just saw him. His older cousin that he worked for got busted, and he's not even selling shit anymore. But anyway, my neighbor just gives me the runaround for like a couple weeks, right? And then he pulls the whole thing where he's not picking my calls up anymore. I never told this story before because Karina gets pissed off about it, but whatever. I just felt like going in this direction tonight. I end up, you know, Karina and I would go for walks once a day. Even when I was strung out, that's one thing that I would do. Even though I was a vampire and I, like, hated sunlight, you know, I'd, like, wear a disguise. I'd, like, bundle myself up and shit for real. Wear sunglasses. And this is, like, pre-pandemic. Like, it looked weird. I, like, had a mask on. And we're walking around the block one day. Nico's in the stroller. And I see my neighbor. Now, he doesn't live next door to me. His kid's mom lives next door to me. So he's a white dude, and his kid's mom is a paisa. Not a paisa like Karina, who's like a whitewash paisa. This is like a straight up, like, I don't even know. I don't think his kid's mom speaks English. Like, straight up paisa. Sounds so racist. I don't mean it like that, but you know what I mean. Straight up paisa. And so I see him. He's getting out of his car. I'm coming back up the street from, you know, from this walk with Karina. She's the one pushing Nico in the stroller. And I see him. And I'm like, hey, dude, what the fuck? Now, I'm strung out at this point still. I think I'd gotten clean, and then, like, I'd gone back out. I think I'm, like, on my second run now. I think Paul had just died, if I remember correctly. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure when this happened. I just know that I was strung out at the time. And I'm like, hey, dude, what the fuck? This dude scutters away from me and goes to get in his car. Now, he drives like a VW Bug, like a modern one. I think I don't know, it's like a straight up girl car, but he had one. And he goes to get, like, as soon as he sees me, he goes to get in the car, like, to run away from me. And I just start running full speed, and I'm yelling. Like, I'm one of those guys where, like, I don't consider myself really that violent, but definitely flashes of, like, prison persona come out if I'm angry. And I'm definitely the kind of guy where, like, if I get angry, I can't shut it off. Like, I don't have that switch. You know, Karina's the same. She's worse. She has a temper, dude. She scares me. Like, I'm scared. I, like, curl up in a ball. I'm just like, please don't hit me. And she's like, why would I hit you, weirdo? She really freaks me out how angry she gets. But this was one of those times where, like, my anger switch just went on, and it just started pouring out of me. I run full speed up to his car. He gets in his car, and I don't know why, but he can't start the car. So I make it up to the car, and I'm trying to open the door, but he locks it. And I'm screaming at him. I'm like, what the fuck? And I just start punching the glass. Now, I don't break it at first. I'm just hitting it hard, right? Finally, he, like, goes to open the car door because he, like, sees how angry I am, and he can't start the car. I don't know why. Maybe he didn't have the keys or whatever. Probably the piece of shit didn't start. And finally, like, he opens it a little bit, and I just punch the fucking window as hard as I can. Now, I don't break the glass. I don't even know how I did this, but, like, with those kind of cars, if you know anything about cars, there's, like, this, it's like this weird piece where, like, the window meets. It's like, I'm so bad at describing cars. It's like this was actually not that new of a car either. It was like, I'm, like, describing it like it's, like, some 2010 car. This shit's probably, like, a 99. I break, like, the, I don't know what it's called, but it's, like, this piece that the window goes into. It's like a panel or something. And I break it. It just snaps right off because I punched the fucking window so hard. I don't break the glass or anything. I just break this, like, panel thing. Finally, he's just, like, screaming. He's freaking out. Now, while this is going on, I forget to mention that Karina, like, didn't go inside of her place, like, you know, because she had the stroller with Nico. She, like, starts pushing him towards me. Like, she's like, stop! Because I was on parole at the time. She's like, what are you doing? And, like, I break the car, this panel of this, like, VW Bug thing that holds the window, and he's all pissed off about it. And finally, after all this, after this dude tried to, like, run away from me, lock me out of this car, burn me for, like, 2-3 weeks, however long it was. Finally, he, like, tries to act tough, and he, like, pushes the door open, and he, like, stumbles out. He's like, what's up, bro? And he, like, puts his fist up. I'm like, what's up? And I ripped my shirt off. I was like, what's up, dude? You're just gonna fucking burn me in front of my kid? You know? I don't know why I said that. But I really did say that specifically. I was like, you're just gonna burn me in front of my fucking son? And I'm just acting like a psycho. I'm on parole, middle of the day, just went for a walk, and he, like, has his dukes up, and I hit him with the left. I never swing with my left too. I don't know why I did, but I just got him, like, I got a nice left on him, right? And I clipped him a little bit. Not too hard, like, didn't really do any damage, but I think it, like, stunned him more than anything, you know, because, like, I think he was trying to intimidate me. He's a lot bigger than me. Chubby dude, but, like, you know, I mean, he's got boobs, you know what I mean? Dudes with boobs, sometimes they can fight. You know, don't ever judge a book by its cover. But also, I'm a stocky little 5'6" dude. Stocky little 5'6" dudes can fight too. I clip him with the left, and like I said, I kind of, like, stunned him more than anything, and he just was like, "Oh, all right, man. I have meth." Karina's like, "No, you're not taking that. What the fuck are you doing? Somebody's probably calling the cops by now." I was like, what's up, man? Yeah, let me get that. And he pulls out, I don't know what it is. I don't know a lot about meth, but it's probably like, I don't know, an ounce. Something like that. It's like a decent amount. He's like, here, let me just take some out. Karina's right there. She's like, no, man. I'm like, shut up. And I just grabbed the bag out of his hand. He's like, no, bro, that's my... I was like, I don't give a fuck, dude. I was like, not only did you burn me, you didn't even have the fucking balls to tell me what's going on. Fuck you. Spit on him. He didn't do anything either. Like, totally bitched this guy out. Now, he had, and that was it, right? That was, like, the last of that with him. But, so then I had this ounce of meth. You know, there's some video. I'm trying to remember which time this was specifically. I think this was after Paul's funeral, I want to say. This is, like, before I ended up getting clean and, like, going to treatment, or it might have been the second time. I don't know. You know, obviously, if I can't remember a period, that means I was fucking going hard, you know? If I can't remember something, it means that that's, like, a really blurry time in my life. Anyway, I had all this meth, and I don't really do that shit, but I started doing it, and my friend that does it, he's the only other tweaker that I really know, you know? And so I start hooking him up. Now, this guy that I'm talking about is kind of, he's not really like a grimy street guy, you know? He's like one of those preppy dudes that just snorts meth, smokes meth on the side, like keeps it real low key. And sometimes those are like the creepiest ones of them all because they're like closet weirdos. You know, they, like, act like they're all, like, not on some creep shit. They're wearing, like, a polo shirt, but, like, secretly they're thinking about, like damn, dude, I'm just trying to get a good mental image of Ryan's face right now. Later tonight when I'm beating off, I'll think about him sucking my dick. Oh, it's like that kind of guy, right? So I end up getting clean, and I don't see that neighbor again. I mean, dude, I fucking punched him, and I basically jacked him for an ounce. Right in front of my kid. Right in front of my girl. I'm not proud of that. I was all fucked off on drugs at the time anyway, just acting erratically. And I basically did a bunch of it. I sold some of it to my old cellie from San Bernardino County Jail. He came and picked up, I don't know, like a 1/4 ounce, whatever it was. I probably did like an 8-ball out of it, you know, and I get so weird on meth anyway. Like, I try to like do as little of it as possible. But I sold my friend that we're talking about tonight the rest of it. So ever since that, he thinks that I can get it. Okay, this is like 2 years later. I'm not on any drugs or anything right now. Like, I'm on like a sober kick. And he calls me and he's like, come on, bro. I've been up for like 9 days right now. I'm so cold. It's like 70 degrees out, bro. You probably should go to the hospital if you're cold right now. Oh, come on, hook it up. And I'm like, no. You know, I'm not going to go out of my way for you. Just come on, call your neighbor then, please. I haven't talked to my neighbor since this incident. Once in a while, because like I said, he doesn't live there. It's his kid's mom's house. Once in a while, I'll see him like in the front of his place, like playing frisbee with this kid or something, like all twacked out on meth. He's like playing frisbee as a boner. But I don't talk to him anymore. Never. I mean, we got in a fight. He didn't fight back, but I hit him. I fucking hit him with my left. I took an ounce from him. He probably got in trouble for that from whoever. I don't know. I never did end up getting the rest of that sack that he owed me. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. So I ended up getting this huge blowout fight with my friend over that and I'm trying to explain to him, I'm like, look, dude, like, you're being a shitty friend by even asking me for drugs when I'm trying to be good right now. You know, like, don't bring me back into that world, bro. And, you know, most people in recovery, well, you gotta, you know, cut people like that out of your life. Well, this dude goes in and out, you know? I don't know. We don't have just a drug relationship. He just happens to be all fucked off at the moment. Let's transition into this other story. You know, I didn't mean to take up that much time with that, but anyway, hopefully that was entertaining for you. I'm not sure where we left off last time. You know, I mean, I've been like so sleep deprived. I've been like all confused. I don't know how many, like, I listened to the monologue that I did earlier and I was just like shaking my head. I was like, Chuck Norrison? Really? I didn't check the comments, but I could guarantee that somebody caught that and was like, what the fuck? But this is what happened with Henry. And Karina and I were talking about this in the car, I think today, maybe yesterday. And we were kind of disputing some of my facts, you know. She's like, no, it didn't happen like this. This is when you got his phone number and this is when this happened. I don't know, you know. It's a long time ago as well. I kind of forget certain things. But this is what ultimately ends up happening. Somehow I got his number again. I'm trying to think of like when I had run into him. I don't know. It doesn't really matter, but it was like the same situation as before, you know. I just happened to like run into him again and like maybe he had text messaged me. I don't remember what the situation was. Because Karina gave him my real number, if you remember. But what ended up happening with us is that, you know, I went and I got that job at the telemarketing place and I moved in with CJ. I started working for CJ. CJ, if you guys remember, I don't know how far I like explained who that is, but he's super interesting. So he's my buddy. I've been friends with him since I was in high school, and his parents are big time cocaine dealers. Big time. Let's put it this way. If I want, this CJ is not his real name, but if I wanted to get 10 kilos of coke right now, like tomorrow, I could call him and I guarantee you his parents have that and I could do it right now. He's like, well, they're like some of the biggest coke people I've ever met in my life. And what's interesting about that family is they seem completely mild-mannered. Like, they do not fit the description, you know? They just seem like corny, like Home Improvement, Tim Allen type family. It's like that kind of shit. But they're big-time coke dealers, and they live in Santa Barbara, California, which is a very wealthy place. Now, I was good friends with CJ in high school. Remember, I was a coke dealer in high school, and I had that girlfriend, Jill. Jill's dad was a biker, and he was a drug dealer. He used to have me drive around with bricks and shit for him because I was a minor. And one of the people that he had introduced me to, one of his good friends, was CJ's dad. So I kind of like, even though I think CJ was like maybe 2 or 3 years ahead of me in high school, but I kind of like started really reconnecting with him through Jill's dad, Jillian's dad. So when I get out of high school, he's just becomes this like big fixture in the Santa Barbara party scene, right? He always sells coke. And and another thing is nobody that, that's something I forgot to mention, and that's really important. Nobody knew that his parents were coke dealers. You know, that was something I knew because of Jill's dad. But like people that we hung out with didn't know that. They just assumed that he always had like connections to get blow. So it was like one of our little secrets, you know? It was like kind of like just something that I never talked about with anybody, you know? And he didn't ask me to keep that like on the low. I don't know. It was just kind of like I knew that that was proper etiquette. So people, anytime people needed coke, they'd call him because he always just seemed to have the best cocaine. Little did they know that it was coming off, kilos that his parents were giving him. Now, he had a little sister. Her name was Lila. Lila was kind of like a chubby girl that, like, my friends weren't, like, sleeping with necessarily. She did hook up with people, but, like, none of my friends. She was just, like, one of those really cool little sisters that everybody had, like, a platonic relationship with just because she was cool as fuck. She was a good listener, you know? I hung out with her all the time because I'm the kind of guy that needs a shoulder to cry on. She always was that for me. And her and CJ ended up going off to college in, I think Oregon. You know, I think he was like an Oregon Duck or whatever. He went down to school in Oregon, and when he came back, Lila was addicted to painkillers. He was super pissed off about that. You know, it was like the whole family was like cokehead partier people, but opiates like kind of represented like a whole new evil set of problems. And he took it personally. He put her into rehab, and she ended up going and getting clean. She gets clean, but little did he know, she had been shooting Oxycontin before she went to rehab. When he like caught her in full addiction that she couldn't hide because she's like dope sick and she's like, you know, whatever, she told him that she was addicted to painkillers. She was a very honest girl. She just kind of selectively left out the fact that she was injecting Oxycontin. So after she went to rehab, I guess she met a guy in rehab, and he turned her on to shooting Suboxone, or Subutex, not Suboxone. Something that I did for many, 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 many years. And it's just, like I've said a million times, it's not worth doing. It's like pointless because you don't get a rush. It's just like, may as well just take it under your tongue. It has a better absorption rate that way. But anyway, she was shooting Subutex, and she ended up getting, I forget what it's called. It's like endomitis or whatever. It's an infection in the heart. And she got like a bacteria, like a fungi infection in her heart. And the doctor said, she couldn't shoot up anymore because she risked the death of dying. So I was talking to CJ about this recently, and he was like, it's kind of like when somebody has emphysema or cancer, doctor will say, do not smoke any more cigarettes, it can kill you. True addict doesn't give a fuck about that, so she kept shooting Suboxone, even though he said there was a good chance that it could kill her. He ended up getting the call not that long after that she had died from the infection in her heart because she wouldn't stop shooting up Suboxone. And that death was about a week apart from another, our friend's little brother had passed away from a heroin overdose. And both Lila and this other kid, who's our friend's little brother, were kind of major forces in our little community, They were like the little kids that were always tagging along, but everybody loved them. And it just seems so unfair that the younger siblings of my friends were dying, and that for some reason our generation got spared. So that permanently changed CJ's trajectory in life. He went from being this guy that kind of was like a secret coke dealer, party guy who's just kind of like the life of the party, always a clown, big time pervert. He will fuck anything. He'll be like, yeah, I'll fuck a farm hog. Yeah, I'll do it. I mean, just, if it's the kind of thing that people think is classic, I'll do it. Fuck it. 2, he went into this really dark, opiate phase where, and he told me that, and I've heard this from a lot of people. This is pretty common. If you go to Al-Anon meetings, you'll hear this. You hear it sometimes with parents that lose their kid from an overdose. Sometimes to cope with it, people will get into the same drug that their loved one died from because they want to know why their loved one enjoyed the loved the drug more than they loved them. So what happened is he got strung out on smoking oxys. That quickly transitioned into him smoking heroin. And by the time I reconnected with him, when I was working at that telemarketing place, he was smoking heroin in the bathroom. Now, if you remember, my life fell apart very, 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 very quickly. Karina had already been fired. It was up to me to be the sole provider. I had to go get a job. I'm the most irresponsible person ever. If it's up to me to provide in a relationship, typically, if I have to get up and go to work, I usually fuck that up. And I had smelled black tar heroin in the bathroom. I demanded that he give me some. He's like, all right, here. He put up no fight. He's like, dude, you want me to suck on your finger too while you do it? Just so, I don't know, maybe you'll feel like you're balling. Why would that make me feel, I don't know. Forget I said anything. What are you're too cool for that kind of shit now? I'm like, no, man. It's just, you do you. So I get strung out for about, a week. And the problem was I was still in federal probation at that time. Now, when I got out of prison for the DUI, I met the head of probation. His name was Brandon Schneider. This motherfucker hated me. He had freckles. People with freckles usually don't like anybody. He didn't like me. And he was the head of the United States Probation Department for Ventura. Now, Ventura is the next town over to the south of Santa Barbara. Santa Barbara used to have its own federal probation office, but what happened is not enough people in Santa Barbara caught federal cases. So if you're on a Santa Barbara federal probation caseload, you had to go to Ventura. And if you remember, it was always a complication because when I got out after getting the DUI, I didn't have a car. I had to take the bus to Ventura, which is a 40-minute bus ride each way. And, they'd be like, if you're not here at 9 a.m. sharp, you're going to prison. Shit like that. So it was a lot of pressure. First day that I got out of prison at a Lompoc or whenever I had to go check in, maybe it was the next couple days. I think I had 3 days before I had to check in. He sat me down. He's like, Mr. Leone? I was like, it's Leone. He's like, I'm Brandon Schneider. I'm looking at your arrest, records, and it shows that you got dirty drug test on a 3-month violation in prison. You were doing drugs in prison? I'm like, yeah, I know it's weird. It was totally a happy, super safe environment that I felt fantastic and sober, but, I decided to self-medicate just because I'm a bitch and I can't deal with even comfortable situations like being in federal prison where Sereno gets killed the second day I'm there and I'm hanging out with Big Meech, who's like only the most famous fucking drug dealer of our lifetime. But yeah, besides that, no, it was chill. I just felt like using it anyway. I'm a pig, man. He's like, well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, Leone. He knew it was Leone. I corrected him, but he did it just to, be a dick to me. So I'm the head of probation. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm the sheriff in town, And we're not going to deal with you like the other office down in Los Angeles dealt with you. No. You're in Ventura now, bud. We fuck farm hogs here. I was like, I know. He basically had told me, he wasn't going to be my PO, but he said that they were going to keep me on a short leash. That, they were very upset with my behavior while I was incarcerated. They thought that previous probation officers that I had were way too lenient on me. So he was like my interim probation officer, even though he was the head of probation. Oh, man. Oh, excuse me. Oh. And eventually this guy named Josh Gallagher or whatever Galligan, he became my probation officer. For the meantime, I had to deal with this guy, Brandon Schneider, and he would call me at 4 a.m. He'd be like, I need to be 40 minutes away from where you're at right now. In the next 17 minutes, you're getting violated. How do you like that? He's whispering it. I'm just like, Jesus, man. You could tell that he really got off on his position of power. So after I relapsed on heroin, I think he was still my PO at that time. He was just waiting for the other guy to, replace him because, like I said, he was the supervisor. And right after I had relapsed for heroin, I get a call, and he was always the kind of guy that I could tell was hoping that he'd catch me, yeah, Mr. Leone. It's Brandon Schneider. And just wanted you to know you're getting drug tested tomorrow. You're going to get drug tested tomorrow, and you're going to show up at my place at, let's say 10 a.m. Yeah, I'll give you some time to flush out your system. And I'm like, dude, I'm not going to flush out my system. I'm not even high. Get off the phone, and I tell Karina, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go to prison. I'm fucked. I'm dirty for heroin right now. So that was the time that somehow I went to the hospital and convinced them that I had MRSA. And they shot, and oh, yeah. No, it wasn't MRSA. It was, I'd gone to the hospital and just started screaming that I had kidney stones. Like, oh my God, it fucking hurts when it pees. It hurts when it pees. They're like, what do you mean it? I'm like, I was hitting my head against the wall. And the doctor shot me up, I think with IV, I think Dilaudid. I think I got shot up with the Dilaudid. Whatever the case was, I got some opiate in me. It may have been non-synthetic. I don't even remember what it was. It might have been morphine, which basically Dilaudid synthetic morphine. But I complained enough, and because kidney stones are invisible, they will give you something for pain. If you're ever dope sick, I'm not telling you to do this. If you're ever dope sick and you have to go to the hospital, if you just complain enough, they will give you a shot of opiates and you won't be sick anymore. But anyway, so now I had it on record that I was prescribed opiates. Now the next day, I went in to get tested. I was all confident. I'm whistling. I have a sailboat in my ass. I was like, yeah, I don't care. Woo, ping. Because they don't test you right away when you get tested like that. They send it away to a lab. So you got a week. If you're fucked, you could just keep partying for another week. So that happened, right? And excuse me. Fuck, I'm so tired right now. I'm fading quickly. I don't know why I wait until the end of the day to do a video. It puts so much pressure on me. But I'm tired and I don't want to just keep forcing it and just not be able to do a good story. This story is about to circle back around to Henry, but you need to like realize like how it got to that point, and we can probably conclude this in like 2 or 3 more videos. But I'm exhausted, guys. I appreciate you. I uploaded the new mic version, or the old mic. See, I'm already getting confused. I uploaded the Mike Virgin album for free on Patreon to celebrate the 7th anniversary of Wasting Talent. It's free. I uploaded it. I shared the link already on Patreon. I am exhausted, and I'm going to go pass out. I do love you guys. Palabra. Well, before I say palabra, I'm going to do the sex files when I wake up tomorrow. For now, I got to get some sleep. I love you guys. Palabra.